I was always searching for that one voicing, right? That would completely unlock everything. I thought if I could just find that one voicing, my sound would completely change forever. And I was always looking under rocks or around corners, right? I was like always just continuously looking, oh, I need more voicings. I need more voicings, right? Well, that's a myth, my friends. And what I'm going to teach you today is about voicing and chord setups. Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast, episode number 367. Welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast. My name is Brendan Lowe, and if you've ever felt stuck trying to learn jazz piano from a million different sources, this show is definitely for you. Each week, I break things down step by step to help you play with more freedom, more confidence, and a whole lot more swing. Everything I share here ties back to the system that I created and that we use inside the Jazz Piano School membership. So if you're ready for more structure and progress, I'll tell you how to check that out at the end of this episode. And hey, if you're enjoying this kind of real-world guidance, make sure to hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. All right, welcome to the Jazz Piano School Podcast. My name is Brendan Lowe, creator and founder of Jazz Piano School. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being here today. I know I sound a little bit like a weirdo right now. I'm amped up, though. I feel really good on vibes right now, and I have so much joy and fulfillment in my heart. The mastermind just finished. It was such an amazing group this year, and just amazing disciplined students making so much progress with me. Like it's such a gift to be able to share in people's journeys. Working through 9 months. I mean, something really happens when you spend time with a group of individuals that all share the same dream and desire as you. And you're all working towards that same unified goal. Now, even if it's a different category, like you're all in it for the art of jazz, the art of the music. And there's nothing that really it comes close to that unity, that feeling of everyone's going through this together. We're all hitting roadblocks, stumbling blocks along the way, but we're sticking in it together. We're relying on the community of the group and the cohort of the mastermind students. And 9 months, ups and downs, and life happens. I get that, but it's such a beautiful feeling. And I highly encourage, it doesn't even have to be with me. I highly encourage you to do something for a lengthy amount of time in music, whether that's go to your local music studio and see if they have combos. Right? See if they have combos you can join for a semester, or take a class for a semester with other musicians. I mean, it's just really nice to be in community with other people and go alongside all of them learning this amazing music, because jazz piano gets really isolating, especially when your partner, if you have a spouse or a partner and they don't really understand music or the dream, but they like listening to you play, but maybe they're not that in touch with music, which is totally cool, right? That's totally cool. But it's really nice to be able to relate to other students, relate to the frustration, right? Relate to how confusing jazz piano can be. Relate to how difficult it can be to even get one voicing down or make your improv sound decently acceptable to you. Because I know that feeling so well, and so do so many other people. And that's why it's really so nice to be able to submit videos and listen to other videos, or again, take a combo class or take some sort of class, out with other people who are in this with you and learning and sharing knowledge with you, and you share with them and they share with you. And everyone's just kind of coming together. So I know this is my little spiel. I just feel so grateful for students in music right now. And again, it's a strange thing, ending a 9-month program, because it's man, I look forward to the classes every Tuesday. I look forward to reviewing the students' videos, in the live programs. And I feel kind of not empty, but just wow, what do I do with all my time now? But it is summer break, and so that's fun. I will be opening up another mastermind and some accelerator programs next year come September, changing a couple things. If you are interested in that, in any of that, because what happens essentially is I open them up for enrollment, right? And so if you are interested or you want more details, you can always email us, email support@jazzpianoschool.com. My assistant or I will, get back to you and answer all your questions. But essentially, I always open them up for enrollment every September because they're for the year, just like I don't know, any other program or something like that or school course, right? I'm trying to find this link here, but the best thing you can do is go to jazzpianoschool.com /live-program-selection. I was trying to look for the better link, which I used to have, but I don't know what it is anymore. So you can do that, live-program-selection. Anyway, this particular episode is really, really awesome, and I think it's really, really fun because you're always looking for that professional jazz voicing, right? You're always looking for the most professional voicings. And voicings can be mysterious, right? Because so many times I felt like I was always on the hunt for better voicings. Like I didn't have enough cool voicings, or I didn't know enough. Like there was a secret voicing out there, like hiding under a rock, right? Where I was like, oh my God, where's that voicing that this person's using? But you know what? What I found was that, there is a secret voicing actually that one of my mastermind students kind of put me onto this year, a secret system, I should say, that I started helping him with. Maybe I'll come out with that on the podcast. But most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, the voicings that you're going to learn in this particular podcast lesson, it's some variation of this. It's some variation of any of the setup I'm about to teach you. And the only thing that might change would be the extension or the reharm. So maybe you have a bunch of sus chords in a row, maybe you have a bunch of altered chords in a row, but the way they are voiced on the piano is not going to be really different than any of the thing I'm showing you in today's lesson, right? Now, you will find very unique voicings, right? If you're reading through transcriptions of Keith Jarrett, Bill Evans, Brad Mehldau, little clusters, 1s and 9s, 1-1-9, 1-7-9, things like that. But again, those aren't the majority of fundamental voicings. And if you're kind of using those all the time, you're really going to miss out on the bulk of jazz piano voicings, just classic jazz piano voicings, because I promise you, those are not classics. They are very, very particular and nuanced to the artist and the way that they create sounds. Now, if you have really rocked your fundamental voicings and you're really great on those and you're comping well, but you want a niche sound, like you want the Brad sound, you want the Oscar sound, you want the Keith Jarrett sound, you want the Chick sound, you want the Herbie sound, right? You can dive into analysis of those voicings and really start to get granular with the specific notes, the way that they are voicing them, on the piano in certain aspects for their minor sevenths. What are they doing? Are they using mainly triads with one extension, or a seventh chord, but it's voiced like XYZ, right? You can get into that, but I don't recommend you start there because, again, that's so granular. It's like literally the 0.001% of what jazz voicings are, jazz chords, jazz harmony. I highly wouldn't recommend you start there, okay? So again, what I'm going to teach you here is not the notes, it's the systems. It's not the notes, it's the systems. And I'm going to teach you the why and the purpose of each system. Now, if you want the notes, you can totally find that online. Easier way might be to subscribe to Jazz Piano School and get all the notes and voicings and videos. But you can totally go down the YouTube rabbit hole and kind of search for all these different types of voicings if you want as well. No worries. I also did just I created it and then I retweaked it. The free jazz piano learning roadmap, students have been really, really giving great feedback on this because it's really a beautiful flowchart that's clickable and interactive PDF that allows you to literally choose your goal and then see what components you need for your goals and your styles. And a lot of students just don't know what they don't know. And I was one of those people. So students will say, oh, I want to learn how to play funk, or I want to learn how to play this tune like Oscar Peterson. But there's so many things going on that you just don't know. Like, what's the style of the tune? Is he playing with the trio? Is he playing with solo piano? Does he have a bass player? Does he not? right? All of these different things lead to the specific tools that you need to replicate that sound. Now, when you know certain variables, you can really carve out your path and move down the correct sequential learning system to get to your goal so much faster, right? Very, very efficiently. And that's exactly what this free jazz piano learning roadmap is about. It really leads down a path to your goals. Goal number 1, playing with other musicians, solo jazz piano, or improvisation. So it's completely free. Go to jazzpianoschool.com/roadmap and you can pick that up right now. It'll just get sent to you automatically to your email. You can have that for the rest of your life. And I promise you, you're going to learn so much from it. I promise you. So fantastic episode coming up right now on the voicings and systems that you really should dive into and get solid on, because these will always sound professional. Like the title says, they're always going to be professional. They're the cream of the crop. And when you start to learn these, okay, your playing, it's going to skyrocket. It's going to absolutely improve so fast. It's going to sound so great. You're going to sound like a true professional, but you need to learn these particular systems, when you use them, and why you use them as well. Why are you using a certain thing is just as important as learning it, right? Because if you don't know the why and the when, you're really not going to be able to wield that particular tool in the correct manner. And actually, it could, interfere with the sound of what you're creating and make it sound really quite off based on the tool, right? And I talk about that in the lesson as well. So with that being said, let's get into this, and I hope you enjoy. All right, so I'm going to show you essentially 4 different types of jazz chords that are always going to sound professional. These are the chords that I use when I'm comping, when I'm playing, essentially in every performance setting. Gigs, solo piano, the highest end concerts, literally everything. So the first style of chord is going to be your rootless voicings in your right hand and some sort of bass note in your left hand. So this type of voicing down here in the low end is great, like really, really fantastic for creating lush, rich harmony below melodies. And I say that with emphasis because if our voicings are always up here in this register, you're going to be right over top of all melodies. So if you're playing in a band or you're comping or you're playing with an instrumentalist or a singer, you're literally going to be interfering with them all the time. So it's very, very important that we actually spend most of our time down here comping in this area of the piano. Whatever it is. So this particular structure is, again, just rootless voicings. I was throwing some tritone reharms in here, right, with a little 4, 3 tritone. This is A flat 7. But the structure here, like, again, it sounds so fantastic, and I highly encourage students to spend more time down here in this super low end of the piano because it's so rich. It's so warm, it's so rich, it's so supportive, and I promise you, anyone that you play with is going to absolutely love. I'll get to that in a second. Is going to absolutely love this setup, which essentially is right-hand rootless voicings with just a single left-hand bass note. And don't worry, no, you're not going to be getting in the way of the bass player because you're not walking bass against them. If you were to walk bass, that would totally interfere with what they're doing. But if you're just supporting your own voicing with a bass note, totally fine. And it's actually better because you're emphasizing the harmony that you're playing. You're literally supporting your right hand with a bass note to really stabilize the harmonies that you're playing in your right hand. So that's going to be setup number 1. Essentially right hand rootless voicings. These are always going to sound good. I use them all the time. Now again, you can change the quality of your rootless voicing. So I was playing some altereds in there, some altered voicings. I was playing some tritones, right? I'm not going to get into all that today. Really today is about learning these professional voicings, the setups, right? And the system, essentially the systems and where you use them on the piano. Now you can find all the other information about the notes and the voicings and how to get your altered voicings inside of Jazz Piano School or obviously other avenues on the internet, but today is just about that. Let's go to setup number 2. Now, this is also always going to sound professional and so good. Again, it's a cream of the crop voicing. I'm going to take a right hand rootless voicing and I'm going to take 1 and 7 in my left hand. So if I'm playing a G minor 7, 1 and 7, right hand rootless voicing. But what I'm going to do here, this sounds good by itself. If you kind of comp through your voicings like this, it's going to sound absolutely fantastic. Right? You see this? So essentially, all I'm doing from the last setup is adding one note. I'm adding the 7 or the 3rd in. That's it. And so I still have my bass notes. This is essentially a 2-hand voicing. It's a beautiful 2-hand voicing spread, right? So many people are like, how do I play 2-hand voicings? How do I play 2-hand voicings? This is all you need right here. And it actually, everything stems from this. This is the foundation. 1, 7, rootless voicing, 3, 5, 7, 9. But to make it sound even more professional, right? What I'm going to do is take my 3rd finger out of my right hand here. You see that? Because I'm doubling my Fs right now. So I'm going to create a drop 2 arrangement out of my rootless voicing, meaning I'm dropping the 2nd note from the top of the voicing. This is the 2nd note. I'm dropping it down to the bottom. And this happens automatically when you just lift your 3rd finger up. How brilliant is that, right? Really, really fun. So now I have these beautiful 2-hand drop 2s. Drop 2s don't always have to not include the bass. So many people think of drop 2s as being rootless, right? Drop 2s can be with the root. I'm creating a drop 2 arrangement out of this top voicing structure. That's totally okay, and it sounds good because I have the bass note in there and it's supporting my harmony. So if I comp right here in this kind of mid to low end register of the piano, here's middle C. This is still acting below the melody the majority of the time, right? Here's what that might sound like. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voicings. Now, again, everything I'm showing you here is going to take a lot of time to practice. I'm not saying that, but at least you have a roadmap to the voicings and the structures that are going to sound good and most professional when you play or comp. And you can use all these in solo piano too. You can comp for yourself using these voicings when you take a break from the melody. So that's going to be zone 2, or essentially, system or voicing number 2. All right, just a quick break. If you've ever wondered what to actually focus on when learning jazz piano, I've got something just for you. I recently just created a free jazz piano learning roadmap that breaks your journey down into 3 clear goals. Number 1, if you have the desire to play with other musicians. Number 2, wanting to learn how to play solo piano. And number 3, wanting to get better at improv. For each goal, you'll see the exact tools, exercises, and systems you need to master without getting lost in YouTube spirals or random lessons. Now, it's totally free, and it'll help you stop guessing and finally know exactly what to practice, but more importantly, why you're practicing those tools. Just head over to jazzpianoschool.com/roadmap or click the link in the show notes to grab it. Back to the episode. Let's go to the higher end. Now here, there's really a couple different things you can do here, and these are going to sound, again, most professional. Your upper structure triads, I'm sure you've heard of that. These are great, essentially, shell voicings where you have some sort of shells to the chord in your left hand. Let's say I'm playing in D7, and then I have some sort of upper structure triad. I mean, I have a triad. Let's say I take a flat 6 of my D7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 6. I'm going to create a major triad out of that. Right, and I'm going to actually flip this, though. This is a root position B flat triad. I'm going to flip this to second inversion. And so now I've created this beautiful upper structure triad. Now it sounds so great because I have shells, 3 and 7 of my D7. I got sharp 9, flat 13, and I got the root on top, right? Now if I voice lead this into another upper structure triad, let's say I go to a D7, I'll just go through a circle fifth. So D, G, C, F, something like that, right? Here's my upper structure. Let's say I move down into my G7. I'm going to voice lead my shells down here. These are all shells, like, right, shell voicings, upper structure triads. So from here, I'm going to voice lead into another upper structure triad of my G7 chord. So let's go to maybe my A chord. So here's an A upper structure triad, and again, I'm flipping this into second inversion, right? Now, the reason I'm doing this really is because I'm keeping my voicing more tight, closer to my shell. This type of voicing is still okay. But it leaves a little gap here. You see this little gap? Sometimes that can lead to unbalanced voicing. So if I did want to fill that gap, I could double the E here and just create a nice 4-note spread. This would be a beautiful voicing as well. But since I'm just truly using a triad here, I'm just going to flip my inversion to second inversion of my A triad. See that? So this is my two triad over a G7 chord. So now I got my 2 triad, right? Let's go to our 6 triad of our C7 chord. Now check it out. What I'm doing here is I'm literally staying on the same voicing. So what this does is actually doubling the third. It's all right. I mean, I don't particularly, it's okay. I mean, these are all, just based on the spices you want, but I do have the 13 in here and I have the flat 9. Right? So I got that happening. And then if I move to like my F7, maybe I'll move to, I don't know, again, another 2 triad. Here's my 2 triad. So I have a G triad. You see this? G triad and second inversion. So these particular upper structure triads are so great. I mean, these are always going to sound cream of the crop, professional, anytime you're comping. That's one of the things you can do here. The other thing is you can now take your rootless voicings. This is the best way to start on your drop 2. So you can take your rootless voicings, and essentially the 1 and 7 you are using down here. Let's say you play a 1 and 3. Or let me go to a D minor 7. Let's say you still have your 1 and 7. This is the same setup as before, but to create a rootless drop 2 now, all you need to do is, again, you're going to remove your third finger, but also remove the root now. Right? So now you have a beautiful rootless drop 2. And so you'll need to practice these through the keys and through the 2-5-1s in your chords, but create beautiful movements with all your drop 2s right in this particular area. Okay, so this is a great professional chord setup sound. That's always going to sound fantastic. And finally, in the upper register here, a really, really nice thing to do is your left-hand rootless voicings with octaves. Now, you can use a full rootless voicing here, right? Here's an F major 7, right? Minor. So what I'm doing here is essentially rootless voicings in my left hand, right hand octaves, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of improvising in my right hand, just using kind of any notes from the chord scale, or you can just use chord tones if you don't really know your chord scales yet, right? Really, really great. The other thing you can do is essentially create 3-note voicings out of your left hand rootless voicings. To create 3-note voicings out of your left hand rootless voicings, what you're going to do, lift your third finger. Lift your third finger up. You see that? I'm going to lift my third finger. So now, if I take that same expression that I used before, right? And again on the blues. So again, 3-note voicings, but these are based off my rootless voicings. They're based off my rootless voicings, meaning I'm taking my rootless voicing in my left hand for all my dominant chords in the blues, and all I'm doing is lifting my third finger. I'm actually leaving a note out. So you don't need to learn anything new, which is the greatest part of my system that I use in jazz piano school. It's like once you learn your rootless voicings, you can actually start to remove notes. You don't have to learn anything new, but you can create these beautiful sounds. Now, my right hand's moving around on the blues scale with other different types of textures, rolls, and things like that. That's later. But again, you can find all this stuff inside of jazz piano school going deeper into these types of voicings and structures. But for now, even just having this kind of roadmap to what professional setups and systems sound like will really direct you in some sort of path that you can follow and work towards. Like if you like the low end, go for that. Start working on that. If you like the high end of what I just did, go for that, right? If you like this middle stuff, go for that. Start learning that. Because all of these, I promise you, they are all professional voicings. I use these every single day, every single time I play, and I always use them. You'll always use them for the rest of your career, and they sound absolutely fantastic.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Talk to you soon.
Thanks for tuning in. I hope today's episode helped bring you some clarity or even inspiration for your playing. If you want a clear path to move forward based on your personal jazz goals, I put together a free resource called the Jazz Piano School Flowchart. It maps out the 3 most common goals jazz pianists pursue: how to play in a band, comping, solo piano, and improvisation. And it shows you exactly what to work on to get there. You can grab it now for free by going to jazzpianoschool.com/flowchart, or just click the link in the show notes. I'll catch you in the next episode, and as always, happy practicing.